Hi, it's Ethan Musoni, the Merchant of Success. Welcome to this public speaking Q&A session. Sometime back during the Career and Employability Readiness Program under Victoria University, I delivered a talk on public speaking. Again, it was just for a few hours, and typically this is a training I do for days. So there are so many burning questions that came up, and I'd promised to create some videos to answer the same questions. So one of the questions that came up was, how do you, let's call it how to engage an audience. And what the question that was, how do you engage an audience from beginning to the end? So there are many tools that you can utilize. One of the things that we can do, if you want to captivate an audience, one of the #1 tools I know is stories. Stories are powerful because it puts us in the once upon a life mode. And I have two girls as of this recording. One is 9 years old, the other one is 6 years old. Guess what? Before they go to sleep, they say, "Daddy, can you tell us a story?" And then, of course, I switch into once upon a time mode. I create these stories in the moment, and I tell you they are always captivated. Not only are they captivated, we always discuss, what did you learn from this? So the reason I'm sharing that with you is from childhood, we are wired to listen to stories. So the moment you switch into a story mode, you're going to captivate an audience. And the best stories I know of are stories that are personal, where you are actually sharing your own personal stories rather than just quoting someone else or illustrating using someone else's experience. That also works. It's much better than nothing. It's just that when it's a personal experience, no one can question it, no one can debate it, or no one can doubt it. So story is one thing. The other thing that you can do to captivate an audience is to use what I call audience connection, okay? Audience connection. So what do I mean by audience connection? You connect with the audience by a couple of things. So when I talk about connection, I really mean where people feel like they know you, where people feel like they understand you or you're with them. And one of the best ways to connect with an audience, okay, first of all, you might be wondering, why is it important to connect with the audience? Once people know you and they like you and they feel they are present with you, then they will listen to almost anything that you have to say. So the question then is, how do you do that? You do that by a couple of things. Number one, you find out what are their dreams. So when you're talking to people, you find out, you can call when you're talking to the meeting organizer or the conference organizer or workshop organizer and say, these people I'm going to talk to, what are their dreams? Okay. Then you need to find out what are their fears. Fears stroke concerns. Then the other one you need to find out is what are their wins. So you want to figure out what their dreams are, so that when you're speaking about how they can realize those dreams. Once you communicate the language of their dreams, they're going to pay attention to you. Because think about it, if someone came to you and they're showing you tips and techniques and tricks on how you can realize your dream, are you going to pay attention to them? Absolutely. So the ideal situation is find out ahead of time. The other key thing is also what are their fears, concerns, I should also add, and worries. So once you know their concerns, fears, and worries, you highlight them and then you address them. I mean, if you had a challenge or a fear or a worry, and I came to you and say, hey, I know you could be thinking about this, or you could be worried about this, and here is how you can overcome that challenge. Are you going to pay attention to me? Definitely. The other one is wins. What are those wins that you've experienced in your life? Okay. What is it that you can celebrate with them? Because then once you notice that and you celebrate with them, they will be super happy. So I'll give you an example of how I use this. Many years ago, when I was, that was 2001 or 2002. So I must have been about 26 or 27 years 25 or 24 years old. So that should give you an idea of how young I am. So anyhow, I was invited to speak to a high school audience. So what I did, I was in Virginia. I was doing an internship there. So I was invited to speak to high school students in the US. So what I did is I made research, these people, about this audience I was going to speak to. So I discovered that they had actually won a district championship in football. Then I also discovered that one of the students there had lost their dad. So when I was speaking, when I was opening up, I said, look, I know that you won a district championship in soccer. Actually, it was soccer. So that tells me you're winners. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. Yay! Mind you, here I am from Uganda, and I already have that data. I also mentioned that, oh, John, I know one of our colleagues, John, lost the father, so let's keep him in prayers. And so all of a sudden, I could tell that these people, these young teenagers, they were in high school, you could tell they were in the palm of my hands, because now I'm no longer an outsider who had flown from tens of thousands of miles away, but now I was an insider, and we always give attention to insiders. So you need to make your research so that when you're speaking, you're not speaking a foreign language, you're speaking a language they understand by making this research. Then the other key thing is passion. Passion means that you're speaking with energy, there's emotion engaged in what you're communicating. You can imagine how I'm speaking to you right now. If I was just standing there and say, okay, Ethan Mussolini, I'm going to be giving you some tips on public speaking. And public speaking is very important. Okay, just listen carefully. You'll find out what it is. You're not going to listen much, all right? So you have to engage. You have to tap into energy. You have to speak with emotion. Feel the message you're talking about. Be loud, be excited, or be angry. So meaning you communicate. I would like to call it emotive communication. Oh, I like that. Emotive communication. Remember, in communication, it's the transference of emotion. What you feel is what the other party will feel. If you want the audience to be excited, be excited. If you want them to be angry, demonstrate the anger. So you captivate people with your energy. So you have to really tune in and raise your energy. Then people will be drawn into what you're talking about. Then finally, there are many things that I could share with you, and if you want more information, you can check out, you can go to ethanmussolini.com/public speaking, so you will learn more about that, or get out my book, Public Speaking Secrets Exposed. But the other key thing that is very important is illustrations, stroke examples. So part of what I see kill people's presentations is that they are very dry. What do I mean by example? So you can imagine this example I was giving you around audience connection. I gave you a live example of something I experienced. I'm sure that drove the point home. So when you're speaking, ask yourself, how could I use an example? How could I use an illustration? How could I use a metaphor? So it could be illustrations, examples, metaphors, similes, all that. So when you do that, then all of a sudden your message has life in it. So if you use these consciously, these 4 tips that I've given you, then you find that your audience is fully engaged there with you. So go use them, and if this is someone on the platform, go comment. For you, what have you found most useful in this video? Just type a comment below, share it with other people, because my desire is that my messages go as wide as possible. And yeah, so just make it, be intentional. Use these 4 things: stories, connect with the audience, be passionate, use illustrations, examples, and metaphors, and then your message or people will truly listen to you. God bless.